Good evening and welcome to the second episode of the Smutcast Podcast with your host, me, official Evelyn Claire. I am so glad you guys could all make it. Yes, it was formerly known as the Porncast Podcast, but for obvious reasons I have changed it. To my pleasure, my podcast has lived to see another day. Good job, chat. We've done a good job of not breaking to us. Tonight I have gathered some of chat's favorite guests from the last stream. But I'd also like to introduce some new faces. Maybe you have seen them before. Just realized this music is probably loud as hell. My bad. Anyway, if you heard any of that. Before we get into it, I have an urgent announcement to make. In this mug is boiling hot coffee. I am not getting burned. It's incredible. This handle is only a miracle that science of the human mind could have achieved. Human innovation is so incredible. If you'd like to test out the handles of my mugs, you can. Acquire your own at !merch. You can send me your money, and then a package will arrive on your door where you can get a mug just like this. Or call 1-800-EVELYN. I'm just kidding, that's not real. Okay. Without much further ado, I shall get started on this.
Are we live?
We're live, baby!
Oh, nice.
Oh, hey!
Look at all these beautiful people. Oh my goodness. I feel like I'm more scuffed than last time.
You look beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for telling us it was a dress-up day.
Oh shit, well next time. I'm trying to fit it right in there. This is a red lipstick event, guys. Can't believe my mods didn't tell you. Alright, okay.
I'll put on more.
Okay, please hold a brief interruption. This is a lipstick stream now. Okay. Chat, please raise your baguettes for a fresh face of olive glass.
Hi. I can't find it.
Oh, Xander, thank you so much for kicking that out with the fucking get the subs. Oh, so I once promised Olive Glass I would make her a birthday cake, but then she moved away. And ever since, I keep having these fantasies of weaving, like, weatherproof, like, mats and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Crafts.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like we should make a birthday cake together at some point.
Yeah. That sounds like a good time. Please, yes, let's do that.
And weave mats. We can weave mats and bake cakes.
Yes, wonderful.
I'd pop out of that cake.
Ooh.
Of course you would.
There, pop out of the cake in the woven thing.
Yeah, dude. like a fucking like wearing it like a fashion design thing, like in Zoolander. Yeah. Hell yeah.
And for all of your I'm gonna.
Oats?
Yep. For all of you OGs out there who have been following me for a long time, you may actually recognize Peter Warren in our bottom left over here. Peter, yay! Peter works for AVN. He's a good friend of mine. Do you remember the good old days when we used to like go do things? I miss those.
Yeah.
You, me, and chat.
So do I.
I don't know what that is.
I don't remember, but like...
You're looking good, Peter. Welcome back to
Thank
Twitch.
you.
I agree. I was just trying to fucking thing with Peter the other day. You're looking svelte, my man.
Thank you.
Yeah, you look good.
He's one of the few people that when quarantine happened, he actually followed through with the plans he set.
It's true.
And if you were here last time, you probably learned a lot from Cathy Reisenwitz, who is back, thank God. Thank you for coming back to the show. I shall promise you a lifetime unlimited supply of mugs. Just hit me up after the show if you're interested in that.
Mugs.
Thank you for having me.
And wow, my. Look at that beauty with the asymmetrical bob and the...
Oh.
There's something different about her. What?
I have my own cable management system.
Oh, of course that's what's different. Yes. Yes. Behold the army of AVN trophies. Beautiful. Adriana Chechik. And then we have the king of the Zeppe. Smells of teak wood. Viking hair, giant cock. I would only be Xander Corvus.
Oh, thank you.
I'm so glad you guys
all these lovely descriptors of me. Appreciate it.
Yes.
How are you?
We're good. A lot has happened since the last podcast, but I feel like we didn't really have time to get into stuff. So I'm happy to have a lot of you back. And yeah, so with that, I guess we can move on from my weird intro. Thank you for living through this, guys. All right. What did you guys do for Valentine's Day?
I did speed dating on Twitch, actually, which was pretty entertaining and surprisingly like the nicest conversations. So it was really cool. Yeah, so I went on like 7 days. So what I did is there's a game called Marbles, and you just like, it's kind of like a free for all where everyone just in chat like does exclamation play, and then they're automatically in the game, and it's just whoever reaches the finish line. So I did like the first 7 people to win or get to the finish line. They got to do like a 5-minute speed dating via Discord with me. So it was really, really cool. And then the winner, I have to play a game I don't like, but he won. So I get to play Minecraft later today with him.
Oh, fun.
So we'll see how it goes. I'm not really a builder in video games. I'm more of like a kill everything in video games.
Same.
Yeah,
Same.
like if I can't kill things, I don't know.
Yeah, this is dumb. You build shit, I'll kill stuff.
That's me. I'm the builder.
Yeah, you built some sweet stuff.
Thank you. AVN happened at the end of January.
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did, Peter.
Yes, it did.
Peter.
Some of us were there. Yeah.
Peter, tell me about why AVN doesn't have a podcast on Twitch. About why do I have to pull up the Slack?
Wait,
huh? Oh, I'm flipping your shit.
Oh no! You know what? This is fascinating for me because this is like part 3 of I've had this. So we did a not podcast really, but a panel thing that was streamed on our website about Twitch that Adriana was a part of and Evelyn, you were a part of, which was great. And it was by far, I insist, the most fun panel I've ever done. It was so awesome.
Aww.
And then and it was so awesome that the people who run Internext came back and said, we want you to do that thing again that you did about Twitch. And I was like, okay, well, that's kind of weird. I'm not going to go back and ask the same people to do it again. So, I found a new group of people, which Xander was a part of, to do it for Internext. Which was also a lot of fun as well. We did that the other day. So, and now we have like a mix of you guys. We're back together again.
Do you feel that the industry has noticed Twitch? Because I feel like before they had no idea what Twitch was, and now they're like, wait a minute. As like more and more adult performers join streaming platforms. I find that to be not a coincidence.
Well, no, it's definitely. I mean, a lot of adult performers are jumping onto it. I mean, that's why we wanted to kind of address it.
It's funny. It's funny because when you first get on Twitch, you're like, oh, this is easy money, and then we do it for other reasons as well. But you're like, this is easy money, and then you after a few months, you're like, streaming is fucking hard. There's a lot of technical stuff, and it's the same way with sex work. I think that's why people jump on Twitch, because it's like I obviously was a kinky person, but I got into sex work because I was like, this is easy money and fun. And then I got a couple months into it, and I was like, this is hard. This is work.
For sure.
So I think
when you said that.
Yeah, I think the porn industry is like, oh, easy, and we all see in due time.
Yeah. I think I kind of thought the same thing too. I was like, oh, this will be easy. And then a month in, I'm like, what the fuck? Why is it so hard? There's so much involved.
Right?
I want to have sex sometimes. I don't want to But after a while, you definitely get used to the fact that it's it is a job, and it can be fun if you allow it to be fun.
And something's always fucking broken. That's what I figured out. Something never works right.
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
I got a Stream Deck, and it's honestly really cool. It's making stuff easier. You just press buttons. Dang, It makes sense now. At first I was like, I used to be so against all the frills and everything. I can just make do with the old ways. But no, technology is so sweet.
It's too fun.
I feel like you gotta have a really good tech person to back you up if you want to get into streaming, though, no matter what.
Yeah, 100%. I am not technically minded, and even just getting on Discord was it's always a little bit challenging, but I feel like once you learn just cool new technology like Twitch, then it can be so incredible, and helpful.
Indeed.
I think I'm gonna just after 3 months of being on Twitch, I thought for sure I'm gonna get out of porn and build my own computer company where I make PCs. I was like, I'm gonna be a mass producer of nasty box PCs. It's one of my dreams I've had in the past 6 months.
And chat was like, yes, of course, do it.
Yeah, totally.
Enablers. Yes.
Funny that it never occurred to me that there would be an adult Twitch crossover when porn and video games is the most natural overlap ever. It's makes complete sense, but
it really is.
Was not intuitive to me.
It's kind of how where the back in the old world, how we had the AVN Expo and the CT, was it called? CTS? Right?
No,
CES? Yeah,
CES.
it was at the same time. And that was just get all the nerds and the hornies together, the nerds and the performers together. These are the horniest group of people. This is perfect. You get all your nerdy shit, you get all your porn shit. It's great. I can learn about VR and VR porn. This is really exciting. That was cool back in the day.
I miss those
This
days.
is tribe.
Yeah.
I miss them too, low-key.
I don't know, guys, but have you guys ever seen VR porn with a VR headset yet? Because let me tell you, it's scary, right? The girls are so big. I'm like, whoa. It's even if I like boobs, but even if you like boobs, they're so massive. I'm like, this is kind of scary, the proportions.
Like the fisheye.
To this at all.
Yeah, fetish where you're being have you ever seen those videos?
Smothers.
Yeah.
It's called macrophilia. I don't know why. I just think that's probably what it's called. Not that I've seen it, but
Macrophilia.
macrophilia. Yeah.
Ooh. Google definition.
Yeah, I'm just guessing though. I have no idea.
So if you like VR, you might like gigantic porn. Huh.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't realize that I would gladly be smushed by giant boobs until then. So
it's a good way to die.
See, that's where we differ, because I always knew that if I want to die in a sword fight or being smothered by gigantic boobs, I think would be.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Macrophilia is a fascination with a sexual fantasy involving giants. You know what? I guess I kind of do have that too. Yeah, like if I see a real tall person, I'm just like, oh, I want to climb you. It kind of, yeah. It's instinctual.
It's a definition of size queen, that's for sure.
Ooh, yeah.
Caught me. Oh, you guys got me.
You know what I've noticed that I don't really have any explanation for, but through the entire pandemic, I feel like the one sector of porn that has just continued to go with no slowdown whatsoever, as far as I can tell, is VR. They have just continued to shoot VR porn nonstop through the entire thing, as far as I can tell.
I actually did, in the height of a pandemic, I mean, I guess we're still in the height, but I did have a company reach out and was like, would you like to do a VR gangbang? And I was like, I don't know if I want to be on set with a million guys right now.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
And it's a lot of work because VR is really hard. Like
Yeah.
for the girl, I don't know for the guy, but it's hard.
The guy, no, it's not hard. No, they just... Xander, I'll let you defend yourself.
Oh.
But like, you guys gotta hold awkward positions behind, you know. I get it, that's difficult. I feel for you. But, come on, the girl has to do everything.
Yeah.
Dude, VR as a dude is, like, I actually, like, before, like, it was contracted and stuff, like, I told my agent, I was like, I want $2,000 per VR scene. And she was like, nobody's gonna pay that. And I was like, I know.
Exactly.
But it happened once where it was like 1,500 or something at the time. I was like, I want 1,500 for VR, and somebody was like, okay, and I was like, no, god damn it.
They just really wanted you.
Dude, it's so bad because like literally like you have this thing like on top of your face. You can't see the girl, right? And you just like completely, you can't use your arms. Your arms are like behind you, and you're just like stuck in this awful position for 40 minutes, and you have to maintain an erection that whole time. And pop when you're supposed to, and like you're just literally, you're like most of the time you're staring at like a white fucking plastic ear that's just like in your mouth, and you're just like, this is the hottest thing I've ever seen. Like it's fucking terrible. It's the worst thing I've ever experienced.
It is. It's actually one of the few scenes where I get sore just because there's nothing there to like interact with. So, and then for me, I can go a long time, but I can't go and stop and go and stop and go and stop because I just dry out. And just making out with the camera where you have to like kiss underneath the camera.
Yeah.
I'm always like, do you like that? I'm like, is that good? Is this the right angle? Am I looking at the right dot?
Yeah.
I'm actually like seeing what that looks like on the VR headset because it's like it's the sloth meme of it like whispering in the girl like
It's so funny when you're on set and they're describing to you what to do. And they're like, yes, you can caress the ear, you know, just go up to it. And the way that they like try to give examples, it's just, I find it, I'm like, can you show me again?
Okay. Yeah. I found a loophole in this system though, guys. So all you have to do is squirt on the camera and then they send you home because I have ruined 8 VR sets. And one time I had to even tell the owner of the company that I squirted and ruined it because the director was like, my manager's going to be so mad. And I'm like, well, we all get to go home now. We're done.
You're like, you're welcome.
Have they watched your porn, though?
Yeah, right?
I mean, that is really on them.
And and you know what's even crazier is they'll book me to squirt, and I like one company I even told, and they got mad at me, and I even told, I was like, you know, I'm gonna ruin that, and they're like, no, it's fine. And then afterwards they were like, oh my god, we're in so much trouble, and that was the same company I had to tell the owner, like, sorry, I broke it. I was like, I don't know what to tell you guys.
Definitely hire Adriana for your most like dry scenes you want to shoot. That's the best. Make sure to put a bunch of valuable artwork up around, and like a bunch of things that can't get water on them because there's no way she's gonna soak the room.
No, she would never do that in the first 5 minutes.
Sometimes I do it just to be funny because I'm just like.
Thing that we did a long time ago with, remember that thing with Angela?
Oh yeah.
Where it was like, that was, Jesus Christ, like that was like the wettest I've seen. Like it was.
What happened?
I think we were
Was
just
there a
slipping
flood?
on the slip and slides by the end of it and swimming in each other.
Did you say fake blood?
No, slip and slides. Slip and slides.
Wait, no. What did Evelyn just say?
Oh, I have no idea, but I'm just like, what happened? Like,
I thought you said there was blood.
oh no. No.
Yeah,
What'd you say? Olive's quiet too.
I
Emma,
heard that too.
Okay.
can you hear me?
Sound was being weird. All right.
Saying fake blood slip and slide.
Oh.
That would be super cool.
Ooh.
Shoot like a vampire orgy. That's like.
Yeah.
I don't know where you could sell that video though.
That's what I was gonna say. No one would ever see it. It's just for It's just for funsies.
I actually did
I think that would run
strawberry.
you.
Yeah, I did strawberry syrup for Valentine's Day, and my Twitter has never gotten in trouble. And the day I posted a picture of me in strawberry syrup, my Twitter got like temporarily taken down.
I thought it was gore.
And- Yeah, and it didn't say because of that. It actually said because my header was an image of me in a bra and panty set. Nothing revealing. It was actually from the side. And it had been there for a year and a half. So all of a sudden I post this like strawberry syrup and then I get taken down for 48 hours. I was like, oh, you guys are
Wow.
fucking- who reported me? Or I think it's like maybe one of the guys that was just like, we don't like your new boobs.
Ugh.
People are so annoying.
I know. I think, you know what I think is very funny, and actually I think it's, Evelyn, I don't know where you want your podcast to go today, but I think that people
Everywhere,
need to
baby.
understand that in porn, a lot of us start at like 18 to 21 with our baby fat. And then they don't understand that we are normal human beings and we grow and change. Like we gain weight, we lose weight, we age, and like they knock you for aging. And then like yes, I got my boobs done, but I've been knocked before for gaining weight because I turned 25. I've got to figure out how the fuck my body deals with being 25. And then I've also gotten knocked before for looking a certain way when I was younger because I had pimples, and it's like, and just because I've changed throughout my career because of natural progression of age, people like give me a lot of harshness because of that. And I'm like, it's not, I don't understand how people don't like comprehend that we're still normal people and that we grow like normal women or men. So it's very bizarre to me.
Sorry guys, I just got distracted by Lotus gifting 100 gifted subs. That's
Yeah, I just saw
insane.
that. Jesus
If we
Christ.
can get some Lotuses in the chat, I would love to see that. Thank you
so
so much,
crazy.
guys. Do you guys think that the guys that have this perception, because I mean I started when I was 19, they would always be like, oh, it's not always going to be like this for you, you're going to get too old, and all these people, and it's obviously proven to be untrue, since like I mean
Yeah.
you can even look at the MILF category, it's doing quite well. So
That's the point I was going to make, is that it's often the opposite, where people think, oh yeah, if you're over 25 years old or you're over 30 or whatever their arbitrary cutoff is, nobody wants to see you, and that in reality it's like not like that at all.
Well, I saw something
Yes.
where talking about how when women hit 25, they're like no longer young enough to be like a young performer and no longer old enough to be a MILF. They had these ideas about how the industry worked, and they're like, oh, so porn performers have to take 10 years off to wait to be a MILF. I'm like, I have been a MILF since I was like 21, 22. Like, I'm not, like
a 10-year vacation.
like, and also just their idea. I think because they watch porn, they follow porn performers online. Like sometimes people will get this idea that they understand how it all works, and it's like, so you hear people say things like that, and it's like it's just not
Yeah.
true.
Well,
Yeah.
were you asking this? Like, were you putting this forward, Evelyn, as people online saying this to you, or people in industry saying this to you?
Well, I mean, people who in the industry who uphold that kind of value, I
Yeah.
would
So
definitely raise my eyebrow at.
Those people are trying to manipulate you into performing a certain way and being a certain way. Those people are old school, like shitty producers and all that kind of stuff who will hopefully be kind of phased out of the industry anyway. Because honestly, those are the same people who tell girls, oh, you need to like lose weight or you need to do this or do that, or agents who do that too, and that you have no fucking business doing that. That's not a good thing for you to do at all. And people, like, if anything, people want to see new interesting people. Like, they don't want to see these fucking clones of every other, they don't want to see these, you know, like Kardashian clones for every other thing, you know what I mean? It's not like, that's not realistic of people's like sexual tastes in the world. So to kind of put the, like, I'm sorry that people said that to you and everyone else, especially women, because they don't say shit to guys. Like, I was a skinny, drunk, fucking beer gut piece of shit for a long time, so I understand. But like the like with women who already kind of are in the world with a with like an unrealistic beauty standards set for everyone all the time, and like you guys are told how you're supposed to look and all this, and society sells that to you constantly. Like, reinforcing that to especially a lot of the young performers who come in here at fucking 19 to 20 something and are impressionable and like look to older people in the industry a lot of times as like guidance for themselves. Like, that's almost it to me. It feels like a perpetuation of like an abuse cycle where it's like you're constantly telling people they're not good enough and they have to change and not be themselves. Like, when I first started, like, I was told I had to be like, oh, like the pretty boy Abercrombie bullshit, and then like I finally was like over it, and I just got my lips pierced again. I started dressing how the fuck I want to and doing all this stuff, and I got more seen. Like, I was doing more shit because I was finally just being the person that I am, not like, you know, conforming to some industry standard of what a guy is supposed, like what they wanted this like pretty boy whatever to look like. I was like, that's not who I am, and I fucking hate that. So you have to be what's natural to you anyway.
You know, I also feel like, so with my agency I'm not with anymore, I don't have so many negative feelings, but I feel like early on in my career, up in like the first 5 years of my career, actually, they would come at me and one agent would sit me down and tell me I'm too skinny. And I kid you not, within the same week, the other one would sit me down and tell me I was too fat. And I found out now that I'm older, I feel like it was more of a distraction tactic to keep me so distracted in trying to better myself one way or the other that I didn't ever question my scenes or how much I was working or the acts that I was doing that was putting pressure on my body. So I also think that people will do that to distract you so you can keep working without questioning where they're sending you, what they're telling you to do. Right. So it's like a little bit of a mind control, I think, as well.
Absolutely, it's a misdirection.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're trying to like they're trying to misdirect you away from seeing like what's actually wrong with the way they're a lot of times treating you, and you know the kind of things that they're saying. Oh, this is the important type of work that you should be doing. This is what all the cool girls are doing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And not like letting you decide what you want to do with your body and your career. You know? Or
this is your brand, but your brand is what you make it, and they make you feel like your brand is what they tell you it has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an element of control if you tell somebody how they're supposed to look and like what they perceive that you look like, where it just creates like body dysmorphia. And if you manipulate people into being like slightly mentally ill about their appearance all the time, then it's just like, yeah, it's just easier to control that. And so, I mean, I've had agencies that, you know, you've seen like agencies tell people to lose weight or to lose it in certain spots or whatever. And it's like, you will never have your own brand. You've handed it off to somebody else at that point and like let them control all of it. It's just, yeah, it's just control issues. And, you know, you look back on the photos when they were telling you things like you're supposed to be losing weight and you're like, I was gorgeous. This entire time I was gorgeous, and I didn't have to change anything. The only thing that was lacking was my self-confidence because I was being told this bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as like a nagging boyfriend or something, you know?
Yeah, it's
or like a nagging partner or girlfriend. It's nagging, but from your fucking agent or like a producer. It's business nagging, and that's terrible.
And like one thing that I've realized is that there's an audience for literally everything. Like anything that I would be self-conscious about, like for a while I didn't want to shave my bush, and so I just let it grow out and I'm just like deal with it. and men would be like, oh my God, I love your full bush, you know? And it's like, or I get fat and get some cellulite, and men are like, yeah, that juicy booty, you know? It's just, you can compete on being like the most default cookie cutter person, but like, why would you? Why wouldn't you instead be who you are and find the people who like that and appreciate it?
Totally.
Peter, you're awfully quiet on this topic. Why is that? Speak up, my dear. I want your opinion. What the heck is going on in this world, this crazy porn world? What is that about?
I guess I'm the only non-naked person here, but
Well, with that attitude.
Well, you know what though, Peter, you have Peter. Okay, what about commenting on? I don't know. Maybe this is a bad topic, but what about commenting on the influx of the Me Too's towards agents that you've seen in the past year? What are your opinions on that? Because I've noticed a lot of agents have been getting in trouble for just being fucking pimps.
Man, the things I've heard as well.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Peter, tell us.
a couple definitely have. I mean, I don't know what kind of comment you want from me about that.
Do you think we're surpassing the time of agents, or what's your personal opinion about agencies?
I don't think we're surprised. Well, that's a tough question. I mean, with content creators and that whole sort of thing, like in that scenario, there's nothing that you really need an agent for. But for as long as there's pro studios who are hiring people, then I think agents. I think the best purpose that an agent serves is negotiating on behalf of their client to get them the best deal that they can get from whoever's hiring them. That, some people just don't have that talent, and that's what an agent is good for. I think there's definitely behaviors that certain agents engage in that we all know about that they should not engage in. I mean, and it's the age-old motto that everybody I've heard a million times over the years, but for whatever reason, it doesn't get relayed to new girls when they come into the industry and sign with an agent, that the agent is working for you, not the other way around. I mean, that's how it's supposed to be. Yeah.
I think a lot of people were put under the understanding that you work for your agent, and that's literally the opposite of how an agent works.
Right.
And
exactly.
I could say like we're surpassing the time of the shitty agent. We're passing the time of the scummy agent who's like manipulating their workers, or not their workers, their clients. And like that's the thing, is like you're supposed to remember your agent works for you. And so like, however, if we're like touching back on the like a callback to like the body type and stuff like that and the way people look, it's like if you're gonna like you have to like in that place when people try to like mold you into a specific thing, it's like, motherfucker, you're my agent and I'm paying you to figure this out. So you do your job and I'm gonna do my job. Okay? You know what I mean? Right. And like I feel like there was definitely this weird power structure. Like I remember when I first got in the business and I was warned about like, don't, whatever you do, don't go to this agency. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, okay, I've met that person and yes, I agree. Let's not do that. But there was this weird, like almost like a high school cliquey kind of fucking like thing where like agencies represented like the class that you were in. You know what I mean? And that was stupid as fuck. Yeah, I think it is safe to say that like, we're especially with the pandemic and everything that's happened, like the power dynamic has shifted so much towards the performer and the creator that like now it's like, oh, after not working for 5 months when everybody was off, like everybody started blowing up their platforms and stuff. You know what I mean? Did me catch myself? That was cool.
Good job. Well done. Yes.
I got you, Ev. I got
the
you.
podcast will live another month.
So crazy to me about the whole like sex work is inherently exploitative, porn is inherently exploitative, like claims. It's like, have you ever considered empowering the worker? Right?
Yeah.
Like, give people more options, give people a way to bypass gatekeepers. There's nothing inherently exploitative about porn or sex work. It's just a heavily regulated, stigmatized, gatekeepery industry. And so if you want to be there for sex workers and porn performers, like, get rid of gatekeepers, empower workers, create more competition.
It's funny you say that because when I first got in the porn industry, I had an agency that was terrible, did some very terrible things. I was doing boy girls for $600, like, and then sometimes $400 cash, like. But when I left, and no one said anything to me when I was with them, and I left them on my own. But when I left them, there was a good month where I had no representation. And I was actually getting so much negativity from people because they didn't have representation. Like, oh, well, you need an agent if you want to become a star. You need an agent if you were going to do this. So it was almost like, now I feel like it's shifting where it's like, people are like, props to you for not having an agent. I mean, I announced that I didn't have an agent last month. I haven't gotten any directors or anything hitting me up, ironically. But I think it's like, it's changing, which is a good thing. But in the beginning of my career, it was like, if I didn't have one, how was I supposed to make those connections? And then companies also made me feel like I wasn't going to get hired if I didn't have representation, or somebody to make sure I would show up to set because they don't know if they can trust me because I'm new in the industry or whatever. This is very bizarre.
I'm very interested in how the film I was in portrays my agent. So, ironically, when we filmed Pleasure, it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago? And
something like that.
Yeah, it was a while ago, but it was before I signed, or I didn't really sign, but like before Mark and I had an agreement that he would be my agent. And what's weird is like in the movie, Mark is portrayed as kind of like a hard ass, like you have to do anal, you have to do all these things. But in real life, that's not true. He's just kind of like, all right, I see you got limitations. That's okay, fine. And it hasn't really, there hasn't been a fight with that at all.
But
so.
do you think, and I'm not trying to narc on the agent you're talking about, but do you think that because you're not someone that's easily victimized, that you have the will to choose? Because I think every agent will be the best agent for one person, but then totally victimize another person.
That is very true.
So many different perspectives, which is on different experiences. That's why they're like, you have to choose the right agent for you. But why is that? Is it because I'm powerful enough to say no to this person, but not this person?
It's all about power. If you come into any interaction and you have the power to walk away, people treat you better. It's a constant across any industry, across any interaction.
True. True.
That's completely true.
That's the thing with fucking contracts. Contracts are so fucking dumb. Like an agency contract is the dumbest fucking thing. Like I didn't like with my agency. Like I love my agent and I'm glad that I have them because literally like give me a calendar and I have no fucking idea what's happening. So I need them to like answer phones and tell me, hey, go here and fuck this today. And I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, that's my whole interaction.
We lost Adriana.
We lost somebody.
Adriana, come back.
We lost Adriana.
Please hold.
The contract thing. She's like, fuck this, I'm out.
I can't be seen with these.
No,
back.
back.
Good.
That was weird. Sorry about that, guys.
The contract thing, right? Like, literally, like, there was agents that would, like, starve people out because you refuse to
I've heard of that,
do
yeah.
certain things in your contract.
They should never have that much power.
I agree, and that's terrible. That's completely disgusting. And the idea here's how I think contracts should be provided, right? So I think the talent should go, hey, I will work with your agency if you provide this much of this much work, and blah blah blah. Now you sign my contract.
Yes, I did that. Bam, bam! I did that 2 years ago.
That's the way to do it, because they will exploit you, because they will go to other companies and be like, hey, like, this person, you can't hire this person because they're on my contract, and blah blah blah. So now your work has stopped. So now they can turn you to other things, like certain agents would want people to go into escorting things that weren't super stoked about them, and they would want to do it that way to funnel you there because they can make more money that way. Now, what should so like no, it is super shitty, chat. I saw that.
But can you legally be bound into a sexually obligated contract? Is my question.
They're fucking bullshit. Like, these contracts don't matter. Like, literally, like, when I went into the office with like, when I was with my agency thing, I went to the office and, like, we were sitting there, and God, this was like 7 years ago. But I remember we were sitting at the table, and they were like, yeah, we're super excited to have you on the roster, blah, blah, so you can just sign here, and blah, blah, and then sign this one, and initial, and I'm like, nah. And they're like, what? But you gotta sign it. And I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. So we can shake hands, and I'll say, hey, like, I'll give you money for the jobs you book. If I book jobs, then I take the money from that. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, yeah. Cool, and that's how it is. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna do that shit. Like, if somebody starts failing on their side of the job, I'm not gonna lose my fucking financial income and well-being because you suck. Like, I'm gonna do what the fuck I want. Like, and that's terrible, especially involving people's bodies, like, and sexual life. You can't restrict somebody to that shit. It's fucking terrible.
All this work at the bottom involves people's bodies, right? Like, whether you're working at an Amazon warehouse,
all labor,
it all involves people's bodies, and that's the thing, is that, and I know that I think we talked about this last time, is that the difference between what you did, which is, I'm not signing that, and if you're not cool with that, I'm walking away,
right,
and somebody signing something they're not comfortable with, is what the downsides are to them not signing it. And so everyone who's talking about how workers are exploited, or sex workers are exploited, or pornography is inherently exploitative, why don't we talk about the alternative to signing these kinds of contracts? Like, why don't we create a floor, a safety net, to where people can say no and not worry about dying or going to jail or starving or not being able to afford their medicine?
Are you talking like on a societal level? Like,
yes,
I trust me, I'm with you, comrade Cathy. I get you. But, like,
I'm just making the point, because
legal systems need to be implemented to anybody getting in any industry, and people need to know what's what's actually legal. Like what I said, I didn't learn that you couldn't be bound into a sexual contract legally until I was 3 years in. And I think it would have been great for someone to be like, hey, I know laws are confusing, but this is like, I'm going to make it easy for you and let you know, like, if you sign a contract and it's not notarized, then it doesn't count, you know? Like, shit like that doesn't count.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, unless it's a blood contract, then there's like demons and shit, and that's a whole other thing. But that's,
of course. We
don't do those.
The devil always finds you.
Yeah, true. Cool as fuck too. Like, no, I agree that like a societal like safety net would be nice. But like the fact that we do have our little microcosm of sex work, we have our little microcosm of sex work that we have to work within here. So like the change that we can bring within sex work and within our own industries, you know, is gonna make waves in and of itself, you know. So like obviously like like letting new performers know that, hey, like these contracts are bullshit, and these fucking agents, like there's great agents. Like I'm not saying all agents are dog shit. Like there's definitely dog shit agents and there's cool agents. But like the understanding needs to be known that these agents don't make money without us. We can still make money without them. Like
Exactly.
This is the thing. So unless your agent is working for you, and this contract, like in these contracts, obviously we just need to tell them like, no lawyer, no court is ever going to hold this up. It's ridiculous. But
here's the thing, though, like they don't want us to organize. So that's another thing.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
We need to get organized.
Yeah, just think about how much shit everyone was talking when girls started making money. I go to set now, and not recently, and I heard people, directors, companies, trash talking OnlyFans because girls have the right to know what their hour is worth. And you often find people on set that aren't a performer being pissed off that you're not going to show up for anything less than what your time is worth because you can make that same amount of money at home. And I think that's like, I almost laugh when people say that, you know, on set, or I'm like, cool, let me get naked now, you know? I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's because I know that I'm worth this much money now, so you'd rather just have me just keep being oblivious? Thank you.
I had some girls tell me that their agents were starting to ask them for a percentage cut of their private websites that I can't mention. Can you believe it?
I won't lie. My old agent 2 years ago asked me to close my OnlyFans and reopen it under his link.
What?
I was like, I know why you want me to do this. And I watched another girl say okay and do it. And I'm sitting there like, are you fucking kidding me? No way. No way.
By the way,
just
so everybody knows, we can't say the OF word. So we have to say
the one you
Lonely
the name, the place, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Did you say lonely fan?
Lonely clams.
Oh,
Lonely clams.
a while back when like Parler started taking off and all the Nazis went to Parler, somebody called it Only Clans, and I thought that was the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard. like the fact that somebody called Parler Only Clans, I was like, that is funny. Somebody called it Bash Book too, and I was like, this is brilliant. Like,
there's a bunch of
do you guys think that there is a way that we can pass on, like, more experienced performers like ourselves? Is there a way that we can help, you know, younger people who are considering sex work, you know, just that they already have the basics? Like, I can't think of an actual way other than like a YouTube video.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, that's one great way to do it. There's, I mean, you know, APAC and APAG do like a lot of things, and they're cool, obviously. But you know, there's more stuff we can do as streamers and as like YouTubers and shit to like put that knowledge out there, you know?
I think quarterly.
A guide.
You wrote a guide?
Yeah, I wrote a guide to Lonely Clams, like, you know, just tips to getting started, how to find an audience, things like that. But I think like one thing that I think everybody in this chat gets that a lot of newcomers and even people who've been doing it a long time don't get is that we're not each other's competition. Like, this is not a zero-sum game. And I think that people in power want us to believe that we are each other's competition because it keeps us from organizing and sharing information and not being exploited. But like, just to get the message out there that like, when one of us succeeds, all of us succeed, that there's no zero-sumness or negative sumness to any of this. I think getting that message out there through Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, like whatever, it's like the first step that we're in this together is like the most important thing.
Well, that's the other thing with the problem with a lot of the cliquey agency bullshit was it separated us. You know, like there was the LAD crew, and there was the Spiegler girls, and then there was fucking whatever else, and it was always like a thing where it's like, oh, they only sit with each other, and this is this elite group that if you get in, you like fuck you, you know what I mean? And it was just like this. It's so gross. Like, and
then within the agency,
oh god,
the competition they put you on between yourselves, like, oh my gosh. I used to hate when my agent would get another natural girl because he would straight tell that girl, do what Adriana does, follow exactly what Adriana does, and then turn around and be like, oh, look at her, she's doing so good, I told her blah blah. And it would purposely make me hate newer girls. Like, I remember one time telling a girl that unfortunately who asked me for advice on something, and I was like, you're not going to be here in 6 months anyway. Why? Like, I'm better than you. And, you know, then she wasn't. And I think, you know, I'm like, man, I should have been nicer to her. I shouldn't have felt competition towards somebody that was 2 years younger than me. I was already established, you know, but they ultimately turn you against yourselves as well as against the other groups of people.
Yeah, but to be fair, like a lot of that mindset was put on you by this fucking crazy competition and stuff. Like we all did and said stupid shit when we were younger, like 100%. Most of us come in here, like people have this idea that, oh, these porn people who come in this industry are just like, you know, they're wild partying fucking blah 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 blah, you know what I mean? Like they think all this like crazy stuff about porn, but it's like, yeah, like you put an 18-year-old in a fucking, you send him to Hollywood, you give him fucking a bunch of money, access, they don't have to wait in lines anymore. Like there's just, you know what I mean? Like you give them all this shit. Like, yeah, you think that's not going to go off the fucking rails, you idiot? Like, yeah, of course. Like 100%, because these people, these agents who are supposed to be like looking over us and like helping us weren't giving us any type of guidance that didn't fatten their wallet. Like it's not, it was never about this. And as like experienced performers and people who've been in this a long time, we can take the responsibility to first up, like that's amazing that you shared that too. I mean, it's fessing up on like the shit that we did wrong in order to help people from not doing that in the future. Yeah. Like, that's why I talk about how much of a drunk piece of shit I was for so long, was because like, yeah, like I see young guys getting into this business. I've had conversations with these cats and I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, first off, you're never going to take the Captain Boozebeard crown. Like I ruled that world. You don't want it. Like it's not a thing that you want. Like
Captain Boozebeard
waking up on the floor at a fucking casino. Like you don't want to be that guy. Like you don't want to be like throwing up on yourself because you're drunk as fuck all the time. You don't want to be this person, man. Like it I know it's like it's been idolized in like Hollywood shit and like all the fucking rock star whatever. But I'm telling you, man, that it's gonna kill you and it's gonna ruin your fucking life. There's so many times where I almost killed myself, like actually tried to kill myself, actually like all this terrible shit happened because I was such a fuck up and I had no guidance. And people just think like, oh, these young people coming in here to a global scale entertainment like industry, and there's just no fucking bars on anything. We just can go fucking party and do whatever we want all the time. Like people.
But it's also less inherently social. People. Like if you look at like strippers, for example, they're much better organized. They've actually unionized in several instances because you can't keep them apart. They're literally in the dressing room together. They're literally backstage together. They're literally in the bar together. So there's only so much you can pit them against each other. Whereas in the adult industry, it's much easier to keep us separate and to keep us pitted against each other and to believe that we're competition. And so we need to get past that and like get together.
There was an old Roman saying that like that kind of like shines with that, and it was basically, I forget like who was supposed to have said it, but it was basically to never let your slaves speak the same language. And it was, and the idea of that was because if they can talk to each other and they can like hang out and like understand what's going on, then they can turn against you and fuck you up.
It's not even against, I mean? It's just like they're not when we're not fighting each other, then we're just advocating for ourselves.
Yeah, keep the serfs illiterate. Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
I think the biggest problem the biggest problem in this industry is what you guys keep hitting on it, but that when new people come in, there is no the first person who gets to them is the agent who's trying to sign them, and they don't know what APAC is, they don't know what the FSC is or any of this stuff.
Right.
So they get sat down with this agent who tells them they got to sign this 7-year contract of exclusivity to them, which is just insane. No 18-year-old should be signing a 7-year contract to be exclusive to anything. Like, I mean, it's just insanity.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, you know, so, but I mean, the trick is figuring out how to, like, get this information to new people coming in to the industry before they make any of these really
Well,
really life consequential decisions.
Ideally, if the companies that were hiring us would support their employees and the people that help build their houses, which are the performers, if the companies could give information or just tell people things instead of trying to do back alley deals with agents or being on this team or that team, or I have a deal with this testing company, go to this testing company. If the companies took it upon themselves, which so many of them were performers, ironically, took it upon themselves to be more for the performer and offer that information, it would be a better thing. But it's like, I think it's just like greed or something.
Well, it's definitely greed. No question about it.
I mean, I think, the funniest thing to me is I was telling someone last week who likes this director, and I was like, I have no problem with this director as my friend, but I'll tell you, they can be your friend, but they can also be business first, because ironically, most of the directors that were performers are the ones trying to lowball my rates, or the ones trying to do deals that they themselves would never do. So it's very bizarre.
I think there's probably a certain amount of kind of like, I mean, I've never been in a sorority, but like hazing, right? Like, I went through all this bullshit, so you have to go through all this bullshit. There's no recognition that like working conditions should be getting better over time. Like, how should be shifting to the workers over time.
Yeah, totally. What about you, Peter? What do you think? Because you work for AVN, and ultimately AVN can be this great thing in this industry that can be a platform for girls to, and for performers to, get notoriety, get noticed from people outside of the industry, to feel rewarded for their job, and can be a great thing. But also the other side of AVN is it can be a fucking bloodbath where girls feel they're pinned against girls, not necessarily because your company is doing it, but there's some weird mental things or things going on where girls or male performers feel like, I'm not good enough unless I get this. I'm not a good performer unless I get notoriety from them. Or I hate this girl because she's in the same category as me. So how do you get...
Peter laughs. Diabolical.
Because it's a very true thing. And what's ironic is I didn't feel that, and unfortunately, sorry for saying this, but I think AVN matters, but to some extent, it doesn't matter, right? Because I didn't like other girls that were nominated in the same categories until I lost one big year, and then I completely told myself, like, I am worthy the year I won, So it's so I don't know. It's like I don't know, maybe people that are in other competitions feel this, I don't know.
I think I've definitely seen that a lot too, and I've seen the division that it can cause. So for me, like, I'm not a fan of award shows. I don't know if you've noticed. I don't attend any of this thing ever. Like, I haven't, like, 4 years. But and I spoke on this before too, where I think AVN and like all the things that, like, the magazines, like all these kind of things, all these publications and websites, hugely important. Like, that's fucking awesome. Like, I love the constant articles, the coverage of sex worker things, the coverage of all the work that we're doing. Like, all this stuff is fucking great. But like, I'm just not a person who, I'm not gonna do an award show. I just, that's not for me. Like, and I mentioned this on something else too, where I was saying how, like, dude, the expo is some of the most fun I've ever had. Like, the expo is so fucking cool. Getting to be on the floor, meeting fans, interacting with, having all of us fucking crazy fucking Pokemon in the same place, just running around being crazy, and like everybody's just fucking hanging out. Like it was awesome. Like, you know what I mean? Like we'd see like a whole group of people talking. Like Adriana would pass me on the floor, and I'd be like, "Yo, what's up?" And we'd fucking like hang out and talk for a second, and then we'd fuck off and go do something else. You know, we'd like go like they'd meet other people, and see people you haven't seen.
It seems
see people that you haven't seen in like a long time. It's beautiful to have that, like literally like the on the floor interaction and almost unity that we feel like as performers, like being there together, is the kind of shit that we need more like socially as well.
I would agree.
That's the kind of like us. We're all here to do the same thing. If we could take that same feeling of the floor and apply that to our social media and apply that to the way we interact with each other all the time, that would be hugely powerful for the you know, for that. And also, like, I mean, just in the magazines, like, yeah, like I've definitely, like, I was never been more excited than the first times I've been like a big story in like AVN and shit, and I'm like, holy shit, like fuck you, dad, you know, like, and it's just like it's just so cool to like have that kind of stuff, like 100%. That's amazing. Like, I don't know, like, does the magazine cover like the, like, I think it'd be super cool too if you guys added some stuff. Like, this isn't the AVN gangbang right now.
Yes, everybody, let's just pile on Peter.
Gangbang. That's not what this is. I don't want you to feel like that. But so like, it would be super dope to have like, because there's a lot of like performers and people who are doing really cool stuff, like for performer unity, for mutual aid, for fucking just all these kinds of things that like sex workers are getting into. And I think that would be super dope to cover a bunch of shit like that, to show also outside of like the sex like industry stuff that we do, to almost do like a humanizing column. You know what I mean? Like, not saying that you're not humanizing, but like saying like just to show like, yeah, in real life, like there's these performers who are into this, people working with the BIPOC collective, people working with fucking APAG and APAC and whatever other acronyms we have, FSC, you know, that would be super dope too. Like, because obviously it's dope because we get like all the big movies get this coverage, all the new fetish stuff, all this stuff is like super. The Lou 42, what's up, Lou Lukes? Yeah, that would be super dope.
Xander, can you please cover your nipple, you hoe?
Oh my god, I'm
Thank
so
you.
sorry. I'm such a slut. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I'm a
kitty streamer. What do you want?
I definitely want to hear from Peter about this, but I will also say that like none of this should be on one publication. Like, and that's kind of the problem with like, well, there are, but I still think that like the fact that Google and Instagram and Twitter all either censor or deprioritize anything to do with adult means that there's just necessarily like fewer outlets to cover these kinds of things. And so that in and of itself is like the biggest problem, is that there would be there would be more opportunities to cover different aspects of the adult industry if it were not sidelined into this like back alley of, you know, stigmatized, othered information, right? And so like we should absolutely keep individuals accountable for their decisions, but we also need to keep in mind the macro environment in which we operate, where stigma and these large companies determine what gets airtime and what gets
things
viewership
are
and what gets seen
very quickly in a very negative way, and I do actually worry a lot, and that's why I also feel compelled to start my own sex work podcast, because I mean, obviously we have Twitch, but it's not completely free speech, you know, like this is a great platform in some ways, but at the same time, like I know that the algorithm would shut me down eventually because of the content that I'm giving, because it has to be suppressed for whatever puritanical reason. God forbid, information.
Unless you give them enough viewership or make them enough money.
Exactly. So let me just button a few more buttons to the stream. Xander, pull out your nipples.
You know what's so funny is okay, I'm excited about my Titas. That's why I'm like, low cut shirts. But I could tell you, I was like, the first day I wore a low cut shirt, I was like, wow, I have 2,000 more viewers than what I normally get.
No way.
And I was like, yeah, I was like, wow, this is cool.
Sort by cleavage? Is that a thing you can do?
Sort by cleavage.
But it's crazy. I will say, even on the OF platform, I know of things that girls cannot do on there that I was told was okay for me because of my amount of hold on that platform. And I know that I am given when I go live on that platform, which I want to make a statement here. I don't do any pee or anything against the rules, because when they told me I could, I got so infuriated because my account was taken down one time and then I started making them money that I was so pissed that they were like, now you can do whatever you want without having to worry, that I was like, I can't believe you guys would even tell me this. But I know that when I go live on that platform, I'm given more bandwidth than somebody else live at the same time. So it's crazy because you're making money. Like, look at the Kardashians, they're naked on Instagram. But God forbid we do something, even if I wear this shirt, I can get taken down for this shirt on Instagram, which is ironic.
The capitalist elite, so they don't actually answer to the same laws and rules as everyone else does.
I have an idea. We'll all pretend to be really rich. No? Okay. It was a thought. I'll make the cakes. So let me know.
Wait, like, Peter, I think were you gonna say something about we all kind of like had a question for Peter, and then we all just like railroaded our things.
I'm not even sure what the question is that I'm supposed to be answering here right now, but I will say, like, I mean, all the stuff that you were mentioning that you were like, oh, you should cover this. I feel like we do cover all of that stuff. I mean, we try to cover.
Peter, I looked on AVN website before going live tonight to find out what the hell I wanted to talk about, and I just saw film stuff, like videos and, like, you know, all that. It was nothing real life at all that I could find easily.
Do you guys ever advertise?
I'm not saying like I know you guys cover, like, obviously, like, cool stuff about, like, what performers are doing and, like, that kind of stuff. But yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know everything that's in there all the time, and I wasn't, like, trying to claim that, oh, you don't do this. Like, I'm saying, like, that's the cool stuff that I like to see. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, we do focus, obviously, on, like, performers and movies and whatnot. I mean, it's sort of like the thrust of things. But, I mean, if there's stuff, if there's anything having to do with APAC or, like, any of these things, I mean, we cover it. Like, if it's there to cover, we cover it.
Yeah. That's why I was saying too earlier. It's like, it's a hugely important, because there's no other, like, you know, I mean, there's you and like one other main publication for finding things about, like, the sex industry and the adult film industry in general. So, and I'm sure you guys, I know you guys probably do stuff on, like, Spisa or Sissy or whatever the hell that is, or whatever the hell it's called.
Oh yeah,
the Sissy law and all that stuff. Yeah,
we've done a lot of stuff on that.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. See, like, that's the fucking cool shit that I like to see. That's my favorite type of shit.
But yet, I don't see it. It's hard to find. And why is that? You know, like, that's part I'm mad about.
Probably changes on the day that it comes out, though, honestly. Like, if a big article on, like, CISA or a big article on, like, union type stuff comes out.
In my opinion, AVN is more for a consumer rather than a sex worker. So as a sex worker, like, I read it when I'm in it, right? Okay, let's be honest. You read it when you're in it. That was the most
sex worker thing that's been said tonight.
Well,
facts, real.
You know, but if you're not in the magazine and you're actually in the sex work industry, you're not an outsider wanting to be in the sex work industry. Are you really reading an AVN? Are you really going to that website to read articles? Is my question.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's mostly a consumer thing. 100%. I get that.
the magazine now is like entirely consumer driven. There's not really any kind of legal stuff or any of that stuff in the magazine anymore. But I mean, the website is a whole different thing. You know, it's everything. I mean, there might not be a legal story right now at the top of the site, but that doesn't mean that we don't have them, you know, all the time.
Yeah, I'll retweet that shit too if I see it. I don't know if I'm, because I like to. I mean, I want to promote as much, obviously, the political aspects of porn and how we can like show that. Because I mean, in any publications that are doing that, like, yeah, I mean, I like if I ever see. I wonder, like, I guess that would just take a lot more work in somebody's life, but I wish I could, like, have a thing where I could look up, like, all those kind of, like, stories that AVN has and, like, kind of, like, repost them as, like, a, you know, solidarity showing that, like, AVN does cover all this kind of cool shit, and, like, we could, you know, that'd be cool.
You can do that. I welcome you to do that if you like. But, I mean, like...
I'll do that, yeah.
Cathy's on mute.
The biggest story of the past few days, obviously, was Larry Flint dying, and that has lots of political implications that are talked about in the stories. You know,
a lot of my viewers, I don't think, know who that is. Peter, would you do us the honors of giving a little facts and info, little pamphlet?
Certainly, Larry Flint founded Hustler magazine and the Hustler Empire, and he had probably the most landmark First Amendment case of all time when he was sued by Jerry Falwell, the televangelist, for running a parody ad making fun of him in Hustler magazine, and it went to the Supreme Court. And Larry Flint won, and it's established the precedent that if you're a public figure, that you can be parodied and it's not malicious, which was an extremely important and fundamental part of First Amendment rights. So.
Yeah. That was definitely a huge First Amendment victory.
Yeah.
Of like kind of like a thing like where like First Amendment stuff is like actually matters as opposed to like what most politics is talking about First Amendment shit now, which is just like white people being mad that they can't say the N-word kind of stuff. And like that's right. You know what I mean? Like actual things like what Larry Flint did, like that is a big deal, because parody is a huge thing, and if every fucking dipshit fucking televangelist fascist can fucking try to sue you for making fun of them, like that right. Sucks. We can't have that. Like, we want to be able to, like, that's art. We have to be able to make art, and art a lot of times is, you know, it was the same thing that people were like getting executed for like making fun of like the king or something back in like feudal times.
Feudal times.
Yeah, so it's
the printing press must be banned.
Yeah.
Did Larry Flint operate? Was he like heavily involved with this company when he passed away, or no? Just a curiosity.
No, he always was. He was always very, very hands-on with Hustler up until his death.
Oh wow. Who takes over?
Speaking of. Two things. First, I really like Gustavo Turner at XBiz. If you want to know more about the legal threats to porn and the kind of regulations of the sex industry, I think his reporting is excellent.
What was his name again?
Gustavo Turner at xbiz.com. And then I would pay attention to the Safe Tech Act. It's the latest potential infringement on Section 230. And it is of a similar thing where it's going to make it much easier for rich, powerful people to sue small websites that are producing speech that they don't like.
That's a big, scary one.
Yeah, Safe Tech. It's bad.
So basically, they're trying to get rid of the all the actual news outlets, some of the smaller ones. That sucks.
Well, yeah,
Right.
that is a huge fucking problem too, because literally, like, all the like, you can't watch corporate news and expect to get an actual story. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't turn on CBS or CNBC or like Fox News and expect to get. What did you say, Olive?
Oh, I just said you'll just have an anxiety attack. It's not going to be like accurate at all. Like,
Yeah, and then like,
Oh yeah. I actually watched after Evelyn's first podcast, Cathy, you said some things where I was like, before that podcast, I was like, I should do a political podcast just because I think I know politics. Then you talked on that podcast and I was silent and got a lot of remarks for being silent because I was writing so much shit down. And I kid you not, then I also watched a documentary the next day about the politics and what Trump and everything happened during the pandemic. And I ended up texting a friend of mine and was like, the government lied to us. They're not for us. Like, I had like a panic attack. And I can tell you, like, I trusted the news that I watched until after that podcast. I was like, I can't trust anything. Like, even now, like, I'm like, if I watch the news, I'm like, you're fucking lying. Like, I'm watching them live from 1 hour. They say one thing to the propaganda they meant to say in the next hour. It's like, I think my
it's all been worth it.
Oh my God.
It's
Yeah.
all been worth it.
welcome, Adriana. No,
It was a ton of breath.
it's like the same shit with like when you look at like CNBC or something and they bring on like some dipshit billionaire who's like, well, we should make sure that we don't know that we need $2,000 checks. Like, bitch, you have 8 votes. Shut up. Like, you don't get to talk. Like, why are you here? Like, you know what I mean? And that's like the kind of bullshit. Like, I love like Democracy Now! Is amazing. I watch Democracy Now! Like every morning. And that's a great news source that I've found. I mean, you've got good internet news, and that's what they're trying to stop. They don't want, fucking the Surfs or Voss or TYT or Hassan or like any of those people to be out there like telling you what's actually happening without like a corporate backed bias. And that's the actual fear that we have is like that's the actual silencing of free speech that they're trying to like commit. You know what I mean?
But is this like other countries?
Yeah.
I think everywhere, and this is what I love about this kind of thing, is that sex workers are often the canaries in the coal mine for civil rights and civil liberties violations that are going to be rolled out to the rest of the population. Yes. And so getting the voices of sex workers on political issues out into the mainstream, I think is incredibly important. So I really appreciate Evelyn, like hosting these conversations, like giving us a platform, because this is ground zero, right? Sesta Fosta. They're testing it on sex workers. They're trying to roll it out to the rest of the country. And absolutely, like, the non-corporate approved speech is what's in the crosshairs.
A lot of people still don't know what Sesta Fosta is. And
absolutely,
all these news outlets don't cover this, and it will affect everybody, and especially everyone who decided to become a content creator. It will affect you hardcore, and you're not gonna like it. And no one paid attention because we're all shadow banned.
Yeah.
I just saw Cardi B was shadow banned, and can I tell you, like, I'm sorry for her, but I'm so happy a celebrity got shadow banned.
Oh, really?
And she said it. Yeah, she's shadow banned on Twitter, and she said it and like put some shit into it. And I was like, finally, someone like not that I want it to happen to her, of course, but I'm like, someone that can get millions of people is now in the same boat that we are and stuff, and hopefully will speak out against it. I mean, she started to, so.
I hope so. Yeah, it's
Cardi B.
Oh.
Which is ironic because all the celebrities are starting to slowly get into sex work. I'm like, okay, guys.
I know.
Yeah, it's
watching you all make out with women now.
It's wild. I would hope that would turn into something that would remove shadow banning as a thing. 'Cause it is wild to look at, like, you look at how many Twitter followers or like Instagram, like whatever, like we have, and then you notice you tweet something and there's not a lot of response sometimes. You're just like, wow, like I wonder why. Like all of a sudden, like, you know, you're going from like getting like 300 responses, you know, to something, and then you're getting like 30. And it's, yeah, like no one's seeing your shit because the algorithm is preventing them from seeing it. And it's really...
That's what's so pernicious about it, is that, okay, if I violated some term of service or some agreement, and you want to punish me, fine, make it clear. But there is no clear boundary. There are no real, like, consistently applied rules. It's very arbitrary, and there's no accountability if they get it wrong. And so that's my issue with it, is just be upfront about your standards, apply them consistently, be transparent about it, but they're not, and that's a problem.
Darker too. There's girls that I know on Instagram and Twitter who, like, people at Twitter have like approached them for sex to verify them and shit. Like, this is not something, this is like shit that has happened. And like, and I've seen like screenshots and shit of like these people texting them, or like, you know, like extorting them basically to make it so they can become verified and shit. And they think it's fine because we're sex workers.
Yeah,
like, this shit is crazy, dude.
I straight up, I'll tell anybody, I had to pay like some random number to get verified on Instagram. And I don't know who I sent that to, because my account was deleted for no reason, because they thought I was faking myself, even though I had my trademark, because there was another account that had a good amount of followers that wasn't me. So they shut me down because that person reported me. And to get my account up and running, I actually had to pay $1,200 to a person that had a connection with somebody at Instagram to get my account back, and then another $1,000 to get verified. And it's so insane. And I told girls that, I'm like, oh, you want to get verified? I don't know. You got to contact this person and pay him random money and hope he does it. Like, it's so ironic.
This is the world that we live in. Yeah.
I will say I really like Lips is a new service that's come up that's like kind of like Instagram, but it's sex worker friendly. And you can post full nudity. You can link to your own. It's called Lips, and it's a web app, and it works not just like Instagram, but like similar to Instagram. Jade, you can link straight to your Lonely Clams.
Okay.
You can do these things that are not allowed on other platforms, and I don't know. It seems like a good like feminist. Sorry.
Lips.social. Sorry.
Yeah.
Fucking
I literally just tweeted last week, can someone make like something like an Instagram that's like point up? Because I was like, I don't want to get censored anymore.
It's not for dudes.
Oh, sorry, Xander.
A creative space for women identified and LGBTQIA plus creators and their fans.
Plus creators.
Womp, womp,
You're a plus creator.
Yeah, no, Xander, you're fine. You can get in there.
I've seen penises on there. I mean, P-words on there.
It looks...
Penis!
It looks like that's not what it's for. So...
I'll let you know I'm building my
I'm a lame... I'm a lame... This fucking dude.
Do you guys think
we've done a lot of terrible shit? We can be excluded from shit. It's fine.
I just had an epiphany.
We did most of the bad things.
So, I mean, obviously, like, in the industry, girls will have to, girls that do boy-girl, they will fuck a male talent. What if we educate the male talent as well? Those poor boys, I feel like they slip through the cracks, because no one cares about them or whatever. But what if they were highly educated young gentlemen or old gentlemen? That's okay, too.
Yeah, I mean, boys are severely underpaid as well in the sex industry. Boys and transgender are severely underpaid in the sex industry. Severely underpaid. So I think they could do with some education on knowing what they're bringing to the table as well.
Their worth.
I mean, I want everyone else besides my talent to get organized and informed. I don't want my talent asking for what they're worth.
Right. Crazy.
Stop.
I'm just trying to think of how can we trickle down information to everyone.
I mean, I think honestly, like, doing shit like this,
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, getting people to tune into this kind of shit is the best way.
Little tidbits.
YouTube videos, fucking Twitch streams, talk about this stuff. Talk about it like it's fucking normal. Like that's like just like we're doing, man. Like, you know, like these kind of conversations change people's minds a lot. These kind of conversations, you know, I've seen, you know, people be changed from really radical political stances to like more reasonable, honest shit, you know? Like there is like,
I mean, more radical
straight up
than yours?
fucking fascist. No, I'm perfect, thank you. But I've seen the you know, these like fash leaning people like learn about what like leftism and what like sex work actually is, and it changed their mind, you know, and then they're like, oh,
Okay,
well, I
so
guess.
I'm going to nerd out for a second. Empirically speaking, watching more pornography is associated with more gender egalitarian views.
What does that mean?
So we are having a moderating influence on the culture already, and I think we have a lot of opportunity to do more.
Yes.
Yeah.
What does that term mean?
I've like basically like we're using our evil sex tendrils to let people know that like gender roles and like all this kind of stuff isn't the societal standard of those things is false and not good for the world.
What does egalitarian mean?
Yeah.
Oh, equal genders.
Like,
that you not sexist.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we're
I just
like,
learned something.
I've made this same like kind of argument about how the exploitative elements of interracial porn is terrible and wildly racist, and I think that, you know, like because of the way, you know, porn in like affects you like on your like sexual nature, is we're implanting these images of the way a lot of these sites that like do the IR like racist ass depictions of black people and especially black men, the way that these sites implant these things into people's minds like create like narratives in people's heads when they see black people. You know what I mean? Because now this is attached to your most like base thing, which is like jerking off or like sex, right? That's our most base shit, like, you know. And now you're attaching these same things and having these thoughts about people all the time, and it's really, that's why I think a lot of like what we were yelling about for a long time about like changing the way, like where race shouldn't be a thing that determines what's in a scene or who's in a scene or how a scene is shot. You know what I mean? Like it should just be sex between fucking humans and not like some like 1800s like gross whatever fucking racist shit they're doing.
Intrusive thoughts are really, really interesting. I actually saw something on Twitter about how, so like there was a study done on this guy who's like, yeah, I saw a rape scene and I decided it was that easy. And he, you know, it's like scary in a way, like that, you know, there are people who watch media and they cannot just, the difference between reality and what is, you know, like they're just like, I can get away with it. You know, like there is no rules.
We have to.
This is also why Medicare for all should include mental health.
Great.
And yeah, it's like such a small, tiny percentage of the population who, you know, has those issues. And I think that a lot of people look at that reality and say like, oh, well, we need to censor, you know, adult content based on that. But first of all, there's no difference. Sorry?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
There's no difference between violent adult content and violent not adult content, right? If someone is going to have that viewpoint and not be able to tell the difference, then the difference between John Wick and a kink.com scene is not relevant, right? Like they're still not able to tell the difference. And so why would we censor one and not the other?
Absolutely.
And then second, like this is a tiny percentage of the population who needs special help, and keeping 99.999% of people from accessing certain kinds of adult content to cater to the needs of a tiny percentage of the population, like, doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So I get really frustrated when people bring up those special cases as some kind of
justification.
Informing.
Yeah.
It's similar to the video gaming. We're on a video gaming platform where what was it, like 5 or 10 years ago, where it was like, video games are the cause of school shootings and blah, blah, blah. He played this
Aren't
video
they?
game.
Right.
Yeah,
I've
right? No.
It's
the
like
same
we can't
thing.
we can't always be looking out for the people who are like, you have to explain that Jason Voorhees didn't actually kill all those camp counselors. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, that was a movie, right?
Yeah.
What do you mean you
There's
guys
no
aren't
such
related?
thing as the Jason Voorhees. That's not a person who lives in a lake, man. Take it easy. Like, you know? But, yeah.
You're not my step bro?
Yeah, right?
I also saw on Twitter some, it was interesting, because I agree with you, Cathy. Like, just because there's a percentage of the population that cannot tell the difference between what is staged and a scene, you know, and they cannot, you know, whatever. Oh, fuck. Oh, there goes a thought. Oh, no. Shit. Not now. Not now.
You know,
Head
you want to
empty.
know an interesting fact is when I first got in the industry, I grew up in foster care, so I grew up with all types of genders and people who identify with however they want to identify. And it wasn't until I did my first TS scene in porn and it came out, and I had directors and other people in the industry tell me that that was weird and wrong. Like,
Wow.
yeah, it wasn't until I did it in the industry. I did the scene and had no idea until after it came out that I had people being like, oh, you're never going to be a big name now, or I can't believe you did that.
Dude.
No one's going to want to work with you.
So
And
gross.
I took the scene without even thinking, because to me, that's just normal. Those are my friends or people I hang out with.
Absolutely.
So a director was like, I want you to blank all over this girl, excrement, but if you do have sex with someone who is trans, that is wrong and immoral.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
gross.
I actually
gross.
had one guy who was a pretty prominent performer after I had won an award at AVN for doing a TS scene that told me, didn't know I won the award, that told me I was never going to be a big name because I had done that exact scene, and canceled the scene with me that day. And I was like, oh, what? It was so baffling to me.
God.
That's
Ah.
wild.
Look, I
Men
think the
are
industry is
men,
changing.
Trans women are women. That's how it is.
I'm just trying to bang an alien still. So if anybody
Dude, I
identifies
tweeted about that. I
right.
tweeted about that a long time ago too, where I was like, dude, until we have sex with aliens, there's no such thing as interracial. But I'm the first one, and I'm so down. I'm so down.
Oh, Xander. Please let us know.
One
What
of
if they have
my
tentacles, guys?
relatives.
Listen, sorry. Okay, I'm going off track. I went in the
No.
tentacle world.
I
Sorry.
love this track. If intelligent life ever comes to our planet from another planet, it's probably going to be way more intelligent than us. And really, like, the best that we could hope for is that we're kept on as sex slaves or pets.
True.
So true.
Oh, that sounds
Sweet
fun.
alien pet. That's awesome.
Yeah, I would love to be an alien's pet. What the fuck?
Oh my god. They probably cage me.
Oh,
I was kind of hoping for sex slave. I don't know.
I mean, let's not all act like we're not into that kind of like being paid. Come on, let's not
Alright.
kink shame here. Let's not kink shame here.
This is true.
And next thing you know, Peter has to do reports on sex workers on Mars. Oh dear, yeah. So, 2023. See you now. I think that, you know, I understand why the categories are the way they are, but you also cannot not notice, like, who's in charge of those categories. I swear to God, it's not the fucking consumers that are in control. Because most consumers don't know what they like until they like it. And, you know, people are discovering constantly new things that they like. So being pushed on an agenda to call something interracial or, you know, incest or like, you know, I'm very interested in where this like began. You know,
I think one of the issues with
was radicalizing for me, honestly. Like, it really got me active in sex work and porn regulation because it is so fucking broken. It is so difficult to find the kind of porn you want to find, and it's ridiculous. Like, there shouldn't be this broken.
Hello? Oh, we have a caller. No, I'm just kidding. Is that you, Olive?
No.
Whose phone? Who has an old ass phone?
Where's that phone from? Was it you, Peter? Huh.
Helen Peterson.
Oh, hello?
Oh shit, there's a ghost phone.
Ghost phone. Oh my
It's
god.
the alien calling. Yes.
Yeah. Of course the aliens would call it an old school ass phone.
Oh my god.
Oh, man. Peter, I feel like you were trying to say something in regards to the porn categories.
The space avian?
I mean, you have a huge hand in categories and awards, but...
Yes, I do. I mean, I don't know. What's the question?
I suppose who...
Why is it broken?
Yeah, why? What happened?
Well, no. Well, let me redirect the question to you. You say that it's so impossible to find the porn that you're looking for. What is the porn that you're looking for that you can't find?
I know what it is. Girls getting fucked in their nipples.
It's great hentai of that, and I can send it to you. So I got you.
Let's do it.
I got you.
Okay.
It's called nipple fucking, and it's a whole hentai thing. So I got you.
It's great. It's great.
Some of it I cannot talk about without risking Evelyn's server, so I don't want to do that. But some of it is just like men moaning in straight porn, or men talking, or porn that just shows men's bodies. Like, I find it, the latter has been easier in recent times, but it just shit that, like, I feel like mostly hetero/bi women would search for. Like, there's just not tagging and categorization around. I think it's really weird. Like, I don't give a fuck what, for the most part, like what race or what, you know, ethnicity the performers are, but I want to know what happens in the scene. Like, does the woman come? Like, are they really into each other? Like, that's the kind of things that I would like to narrow down on, and I find it very difficult.
Okay, sorry.
I would definitely put the blame then on the writers for that one, and like the people who are shooting, because they're shooting through the male gaze primarily.
Or the people that put up the ads on their sites, because let's face it, you're only putting an ad if you're sucking up to the company, or you know, you're in the cool crowd, you're only put on those ads, you know. Well, so I would say a lot of it would also be the people that are picking the advertising and stuff as well.
I mean, advertising is also paid for.
Yeah, no, I think, I don't know, I'm just speculating, but I would say maybe there's not enough vocal female porn watchers who are making their desires known to the people who make the porn, that, hey, I want to see this and that and the other, but they're hearing a million things from guys about what they want to see.
Well, you can't listen to Coomer Brains all the time, Peter.
I mean, I don't know how accurate that might be, but it's just a guess.
What you're saying too, Peter, but like I think a lot of, and this is the same thing with the agents and stuff, right? There's this old school system that these companies continue to use all the time because they're not interested in creating something new or creative or like inspiring or anything else.
Oh, yeah.
They just want to keep making the sales, right? Even with the company I work with, like there was so many times in scripts where like, hey, like we want exactly this shot, and I was like, let's make a new shot. How about that? Let's do something interesting and cool that no one's seen, and let's fucking do that shit. You know what I mean? Like that's like the kind of shit that like I always try to push for in scenes where they're like, oh, like if somebody wants exactly this, or I mean, you have these companies like, I'm not just gonna do that, but like you have these companies who are like, yeah, we need 8 minutes of reverse cowgirl Like,
Right.
yeah, let's pretend like the girl's into that, right?
As if anyone has the
Sure,
thigh
she's-
strength for that for
She's
longer than 40
definitely
seconds.
into being in this robotic ass position that you want her in for 8 goddamn minutes, like 100%. Like that's totally real. She's so into it.
And you have to nut at exactly 7.5 minutes.
Yeah, I think a lot. Some of the best like work that I've done or seen is like really like when directors and companies are like, "Go nuts," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like
Oh,
that's
sure.
been so cool. Like I remember like there was shoots we did for Evil for that too, where like they were just like, "Here's a room, destroy it," and I was like, "Awesome!" Like, and then
Well,
you know those were like nominated scenes and shit. Like you know, and like these are things that like people like view more, but they're in this capitalist fucking
I also
robot
think
shit where they have their equation. It's like pop music, you know, they have the equation of the note and the sounds that make people like listen to this music more, and they keep fucking making that.
they're
You know what I mean?
perpetuating the type of
Well-
content they're essentially making the consumer like a certain type of content. When people were like, why is everybody into step and blah blah blah, because somewhere someone decided we're gonna all be fucking related, and then because it picked up on one time, ever since then we started mass producing it. So of course when it's put in your face, you're gonna buy it, because if that's all you see, you
Yeah.
end up being conditioned in a form liking that. I think Tumblr pushing sex workers off was a huge blow, because I actually would use Tumblr as a lot of my personal time, me time stuff that I would like, that would be like, you know, like what you said, men moaning, or the intimate, sensual, even just clips or whatever, boomerangs and stuff like that. That's where I would go to find a lot of the stuff that I would look for as a female. For
It's so
porn,
hard to
but
find porn for straight women, or
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like.
OnlyFans.
Honestly,
Oh.
90% of these companies, like 95% of these companies now they're traffic companies and not porn companies.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Right? It's all about driving traffic and clicks and data. Go ahead, Pierre.
Well, that's just what I was going to say. I mean, really, if you think about this in the grand scheme of things, it's not really any different from what you see with Hollywood. Why is everything that Hollywood does now a reboot or a sequel, or because that's the stuff that made them money, so they're going to make more of it.
Exactly.
That's just what it boils down to, you know.
Yeah. If you want the unique creative stuff,
right?
Yeah. If you want the unique creative stuff, you have to go to performers. Like you have to go to our platforms.
Yeah.
I love when
Yeah,
a
you have to go to
director
our-
listens to me. Oh my god, when a director listens to my suggestion, I'll be like, can we fuck on this mirrored coffee table? It would be so cool. And like show them, I'm like, look how cool that would be. You know, yeah, let's shoot that. Let's shoot that instead.
I kind of just strong arm them into it now.
Yeah.
Like
I
I
just
kind of like,
ignore them.
yeah. Like,
Do what you
they'll be
want.
Like, I'll just like do whatever I'm gonna do, like, and then like that's what you get. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think a lot of, which is also I maybe I'm wrong here, but I feel like is a very almost empowering thing for performers as well, is that people just knows that, or people just, what am I
People
doing?
noses.
People
sexy.
know now that like to get our creative, interesting stuff, to get the things that are going to be unique to your performer or like this person you like, you know, you're gonna go to their platforms to find it. You know what I mean? If you want, you know, performance with zero squirting at all, go to Adriana. You know, like she hates squirting.
No.
So
She's the driest in the industry.
the most the Sahara of a porn scene.
You know, ironically, people will be like, I want more passionate scenes from you, because companies don't hire me for that. Ironically,
Right.
like, I'm like, well, if only you knew, you know? Because
Yeah.
I'm, you know, you're delivering what you're asked to ultimately.
Like Olive shoots like crazy fucking creative photo sets and shit
God,
like
I
that.
love
Like
it.
that's like Olive shit is like artsy fucking like
I remember.
wild shit. But like, you know, it's like,
Strange kink stuff.
yeah. And you come to me for just like boring sex, you know? It's cool. So like
it's all good. It's all the sex is good sex.
Yeah.
This is true.
To my
I think
platform.
you come to me. That's what I said to my friends. I'm like a Twitter personality that some people want to see naked and having sex. I think it's my OnlyFans.
Your Twitter's amazing.
Yeah,
I enjoy it.
priming all of my following to be like, I just get naked and paint, and that's kind of what I do. So I'm just gonna start doing more and more and more of that, and maybe I'll just like create a fetish, like a niche fetish, just for me.
There is.
Out of them all the time.
Ooh.
There is a huge fetishization of artistic women. For some reason, we're like so mysterious.
Hard.
I think we're kind of naturally flowing into is a lack of art direction in porn.
Yeah.
Severe lack of art direction.
Yes.
Or for
Um,
structure. There's a structure to the art. You know what I mean? It's all fucking paint by numbers now.
Yeah.
I never
You know,
wanted to be a nurse
Well, that's why, like,
or bang on white sheets.
yeah, that's why I think like indie production companies can be so incredible and should be something that we're like retweeting and talking about them and you know, just because there isn't that corporate structure that goes along with it. Like I'm working for a production company next month that's just absolutely incredible with their, you know, their styling, and they hire a wardrobe stylist, they hire a stylist for the sets, like
Good.
in ways that are very interesting and unusual, and there just needs to be more of that because it's you know, it can be fun to go onto set and do the same sort of like glamour routine every single time or whatever, but we just need to spice it up a little bit to like
Absolutely.
Let's shout them out. Like, I think Crash Pad series is doing really interesting work. Pink and White seems to be taking their craft seriously. Erica Lust. Like, who do we recommend?
Peter, why don't indie
Okay.
companies get as much recognition? Is it because they don't submit to their work?
In what sense?
Is it because it doesn't trend? I'm just curious. Like, I feel that indie companies just
we
don't.
nominated a lot of indie stuff this year.
I've seen like Missa X, like her. I have seen.
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad you said that, Adriana, because I think that right now is my number one case to go to whenever anybody wants to say small companies don't get recognized by AVN. We gave Missa X so many nominations because her stuff is fantastic. Like,
There's also so
it's
many
cool,
other
right?
companies other than Missa. I mean, I love Missa X. I love shooting for them, but
Yeah.
No.
what I'm saying is that there's just
of course, but
a lack.
I mean, you know, if they submit it and it's worthy, we'll nominate it. Like that's
Yeah, I remember like even when we did the movie years and years ago for Burning Angel. Remember? Like I was so happy that like back when BA wasn't, or when it was the Sydney Queen of Hell.
oh yeah,
And I remember like
Yeah.
it was so cool like to like as my first time like writing and directing something with Joanna, it was just like, you know, seeing that even be nominated was just cool as shit. And I know Burning Angel isn't like a super small company, but back then it wasn't, you know, it was still the underdog in a lot of situations and
sure.
in adult, you know what I mean? So that was cool to have that, and I've definitely seen the coverage of indie stuff, and that's cool. And you guys have definitely done a lot of that for OF and stuff too, you know. So like and
Wasn't there like a best home movie or something? Something.
Best home movie.
Best home movie.
What was it?
No.
Something shot into iPhone. I don't know. You know what I'm thinking?
We did well. We had the category best whatchamacallit, quarantine scene.
Yeah.
Best quarantine scene. Oh my god.
I like that though because it did highlight what we were doing at home, like ourselves, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of pissed about that actually. I'll just say like I thought that was a category that we should have presented during the awards, and I was kind of shot down on that one. But oh well, what are you gonna do?
One more time, Olive. It cut off a little bit.
Such a good idea. It's so relevant, and like
I know.
you're not going to have another year, like well, hopefully not another year where
Right.
you have the option of best quarantine video. Like
I know exactly. Like, I mean, I didn't see any reason why we shouldn't have done it as one of the on-screen categories, but it was shot down. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I would like to have whoever shot it down on the podcast.
Do you think it's mainly because, like, okay, if you're selling your AVN product to Showtime, what is Showtime going to buy?
I think that Showtime would be into that, but I'm not Showtime, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll interview Showtime next.
Not to mention it could be cut out.
Showtime wants to buy my clips.
No, but I mean, look, like when there's, I mean, I love stuff from small studios. We nominated some stuff from Shine Louise Houston this year that was really cool, and Erica Luss. Yeah, I mean, if it's good and if it meets the eligibility, then I'm all for it.
Oh, fuck me. Fuck me too.
Someone's playing Warzone in my house. I'm sorry.
Another Warzone house.
On brand.
Warzone house.
What do you guys all? Is there any games we could all play together?
Xander, I hear you do a sex worker aid show every week, was it?
Yeah, we didn't do it last week because there's a bunch of people weren't feeling good and shit. But we play Among Us every week for our sex worker mutual aid fund out here in Vegas. You can check that out at
Oh shit! I'm sorry, Xander.
SwadeVegas.org. What's up?
Sorry, I never responded to you that day.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
I know,
It didn't hurt my feelings at all. I'm not still thinking about it or anything. It's fine.
I am sorry.
You just opened a fresh wound. What the fuck?
I am. I'm sorry.
All good. We do it every Friday, so please, like, if you guys want to come on, Cathy as well, Peter, if you want to come play fucking Among Us with us, that'd be dope. Put it in AVN.
Yeah.
Put Swade in AVN. So we can get more funding to help more people.
We can do a thing about it, for sure.
That'd be awesome.
There definitely needs to be, more things where we are helping others out. When we can. We're all busy people, but, I think the more we do games together, even if it's silly ass Among Us, I mean, I think that's a good bonding thing. I feel that on the internet we are pushed into our own little micro worlds that revolve around our narcissism, brands, and whatever else, our communities. I think we do need to find ways to, bridge again like we would have if we could see each other in person.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
That,
You're here.
can I put the Swade link in chat, Evelyn?
Absolutely. 100%. Go ahead, promo.
Tight.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Oh, you got that. You got that fast. You were ready to send that.
Oh, no, I was locked and loaded. Yeah, I was ready.
Love it. I love it.
Oh, cutie.
I feel like Shiva had a great time today. So.
I want to thank you guys so much for coming on tonight and talking. And this is the second podcast. I feel like we covered some really important things. I can't believe we didn't get shut down. I was certain I was gonna get banned. Not today.
Don't think we'll keep going till we do.
We live.
Yeah.
I love it. This is great. Thank you for hosting.
Yeah, I love being on. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. I could cry.
Who else is involved in this, Xander? This is cool. You guys have like a legit website and everything.
Oh yeah, dude. It's right now like there's a bunch of people who are involved, but it's like Summerheart, Cody Vore, Tegan Reck, and and me, and we kind of started the idea to create a mutual aid fund to give grants to sex workers who just COVID has affected every industry obviously, but strippers and escorts and performers and all that stuff. It affected us a lot too. So we put this idea together so we could just give like substantial aid to sex workers in Las Vegas. So we also encourage like people in LA and people like we're helping organize one Suede in Arizona right now, and so like LA one would be cool too. Like just
Absolutely.
and they're all it's like Antifa. It all kind of works on its own. We're not the leaders. But yeah, that's what we do. So it's pretty tight.
It's fucking
Awesome.
Yeah.
We need a aid for LA for sure.
Yeah, well, definitely the most expensive fucking city. Yeah, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
As an SF resident, I'm not sure about that. The resident of San Francisco.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that is more expensive. Yeah, one of the most expensive cities.
You actually have a really big looking bedroom for San Francisco.
Right?
This is my whole apartment.
Oh.
That makes more sense.
Okay.
This is my entire living space.
I remember I went home with a guy in San Francisco and he was like, this is my apartment. And his bed was in the closet. It's like a walk-in closet and there was clothes and then a bed. And I was like, oh, one room in a closet. It was crazy.
Jeez.
It was crazy.
Housing will always be so interesting to me.
We need to have a whole episode on
It should be
housing.
covered by
I agree.
taxes,
I
and
actually,
there should be public housing for fucking everyone. But billionaires need more boats, so it's not gonna happen.
Go on, Adriana.
I actually literally, like 2 days ago, started yelling at the dude in my life, like, do you know that houses are built to keep us apart? Since the last podcast. Like, I'm some really crazy stuff.
It's true.
Right over here. Look at this. Look at this budding comrade. I'm so excited, Adriana. I'm gonna get you a little Ushanka hat and everything.
Send me. I need all the info.
Oh, dude. I think between Cathy and I, we got you. Like.
love it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, chat. Can you get your baguettes out for my wonderful guests?
Also, thank you. Oh, sorry.
Oh no. Go on there, Xander. Is what you saying?
Go off, King.
Go off, King.
Thank you, Peter, too. Like, I think it was nice to know the that AVN does cover some of the political shit, and I think everybody here would be happy to see that and more too. So that's awesome.
We're trying.
You gotta find the journalist who will write it.
Peter,
Yeah.
you should make it known because I've told
Cathy.
you should make it known because I've told you things before, and you're like, if you'll write it, we'll probably put it in the website. So maybe we should just write more shit and tell AVN to post it. We should all be our own writers, journalists.
Absolutely. We'll totally take any...
There's a lot of dumb shit around, So there's not gonna be some fucking shitty ass articles written.
I would like to see less dumb shit on our site. That'd be good.
Woo!
We all I think we could all agree on that.
Yes.
The people I would not want to write articles at all. But yeah, I get it. Free press, man. Hey, fuck it.
Yeah.
I hope that this podcast was enlightening for those of you at home who probably had some questions you didn't know you had questions for. I love these podcasts just because I don't actually know what we'll talk about, but I think it flows to good topics and reasons, yeah. So I'm just thankful. I'm just so thankful. This was great. We're at 7 p.m. I should probably kick us off now and let you guys return to your lives. Starting from the upper left corner, we have the beautiful Adriana Chechik, a good friend of mine who is also on Twitch, which is Adriana Chechik _, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Guys,
That
thank
is-
you for having me on.
Oh, a pleasure, a pleasure. Next to Adriana, we have Cathy Reisenwitz, our resident sex educator. The only way we can consider this a real sex ed podcast is because of this wonderful human being, thank God. Saved! And next to her, we have Olive Glass, a beautiful human that I am just so glad she came. And look at that cute little kitty. Oh my God. Special guest, cute cat. And then below Adriana, we do have Peter Warren. Peter got kind of ganged up on tonight. I feel bad. I will be giving you a public apology later on Twitter.
I'm used to it.
Thank you so much,
it
Peter.
cleared up stuff like that. You know, it was good. Like, cause now we know like more about the AVN is doing some cool shit, and that's fucking awesome.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know, that's fucking great.
There you go.
Thank you,
You
Peter.
did good. I love you, Peter.
I love you too, Xander.
And then we got Comrade Xander, Comrade Corvus
Hi.
over here. Corvus 77. Wait, right? Yeah.
777 would be in
Yes.
777, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Please go follow all my friends on social media. They're wonderful, good people. And I guess that would conclude tonight's podcast. Be sure to buy your mug, so that you won't get burned by your hot liquid. And
Also, the name of your podcast is dope.
you like it?
I fucking love the name.
You like it better than the old one? I like it.
100%. It's so cool.
We're getting there. We're getting there. We're slowly polishing it up.
Because you just sold your mugs, I'm giving you my corporate overlord emoji in chat right now.
Oh.
That's cool. You get to debut it.
Wow. Oh God, I love Twitch. Twitch is so awesome. All right. Okay.
Oh, that's a cool vote. Bye, guys.
I hope you guys will consider coming back in the future. Thank you so much. You can depart
Please.
as you wish.
Anytime.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Hell yeah.
Bye.
Good night, guys.
Bye.